DoorDash has a brand new update, and it is the in-app catering offer. And today we're going to go through the ins and the outs of how this thing actually works. We're going to talk and look at some offers, then go through some pros and some cons, and I'll share some of my final thoughts. So there's a lot to go through, so let's get started. So go ahead and go to your app. Open this thing up, go to your home screen. Then when you go there, on that very left-hand corner where you see those lines, go ahead and tap that, where you're going to see your great big old list right there. Then what you want to do is tap on schedule. And when you tap on that, take you to your natural scheduling screen. Then you will see something that hasn't always been there. And now it shows offers. But the thing about it is, it's only for platinum dashers. So if you're not platinum, well, you're not going to see this. Then also DoorDash says it's not even going to be for all platinum dashers. It's just going to be for a select few. Which ones? Well, we don't quite know yet. So that is left up to a really good question. But I would really think that that person would have to have their completion rating up pretty high. Because if you don't, because I'm sure they want to make sure the person that's actually going to go forward and actually do these offers are going to actually complete these offers. And whatever metrics that they want to come out and say that they want to say, these are the type of platinum dashers we're going to use. Well, hopefully they'll come out and let us know how we can actually truly qualify. I kind of see this as the platinum dasher inner circle. That's just what I'm just kind of made up and called it, because that's what it seems like it is. Since not all platinum dashers actually qualify. And personally, I don't even have this in my area. This is just being tested and tinkered in select markets, and I wish I had it. Or at least I think I do. But when we get to the pros and cons, we can talk a little bit more about that. So when you're actually selecting an offer here, you'll actually see, like, for example, we have here is $15. And this is supposed to arrive at 11 o'clock. And this estimated time is to take 30 minutes. And we have another offer, $25. Arrive by 12 p.m. Estimated time, 40 minutes. Then we have a couple more offers, $11.20. And then you have a $50 one as well. So this is what and how it's going to pretty much shape up and look like, which seems pretty cool. So when you actually select one of these, then you're actually going to see more of the details and see what the offer is. Let's look at this. It says $15. Now here's like an interesting thing where it says plus $3 setup pay. So if you go ahead and you set this thing up, you're going to get an added $3 bonus to make this $18. And this is quoted to be at 8 miles and 30 minutes. And it kind of, as you keep on going down, you see more of the details of how it's 50 items, and there in the bottom red, you can actually claim and schedule. And from there, you go ahead. It says the check-in starts, so it'll give you that date, and it'll give you your time, and it ends. So they're going to give you like an hour and a half window, and you have to make sure you check in. Doesn't mean right when you check in, you're actually just going to straight to that store just right then. However, you have to make sure you are checked in when they send you that notification. Because if you do not actually check in the appropriate time, they can actually boot you off and get somebody else. But then you'll have a mark on your completion rating, and that wouldn't be good, because then you're going to be endangering yourself even being off that little catering program. And the other thing about this, DoorDash states that you actually have to take at least 2 of these catering offers in a 2-week time span. So that's another key element that you need to keep in mind. So then we come to your actual scheduled screen right here, and you can go to My Schedule, and you'll see the one that you're actually scheduled for. DoorDash states that you can actually schedule up to 4 catering offers. So not too bad, but I just wonder how many offers are actually going to be available for these select dashers or platinum dashers. Then from there, you can actually preview your directions, which looks just like the original scheduled offer when you actually looked in to see if you were actually going to take it. But this is going to actually show you the route just like any other offer. So be sure to to be on the lookout for that push notification and have those notifications on. So you make sure that you can actually see, hey, you have a catering scheduled and you're going to need a check-in. And speaking of check-in, this little check-in now button looks like this one right here, right where you see check in now. That's all you got to check. Then it leads you to this screen right here where it says to arrive at the store about 11 p.m., which was already your promise time for when you're supposed to be there. But let's read some of that little fine print. It might be a little hard to read from your screen. So let me go ahead and tell you what it says. It says start your dash early to arrive on time and be ready for pickup. Late arrivals may limit access to future catering offers. So timeliness is key. Now that we actually went through a good explanation of how this thing really works, let's look at a few offers again, because this is the same screen that we looked at, the $15 and the $25. But the question now is, should you actually take it? What is your minimum? Or should there be like a minimum that you should even take? So automatically, we're going to keep in our mind of how we have $2 plus per mile and maybe even to $1.75 per mile. So that's just going to be kind of like our basis. Then we'll kind of work our way into when we actually see an offer. So $15, and let's go to that screen. It says 8 miles. So does this meet up to that? It's right under that $2 per mile ratio, so you probably could do it. You're going to get an extra $3 bonus if you do a setup. It's 30 minutes, so $18 in 30 minutes. Not that bad, especially if you're looking for like $20, $25 an hour, because you can get another offer after this. So when you really get down to it, and it looks like, honestly, this offer would be really kind of hard to even take unless it's at the end of your 2 weeks and you just got to do a catering order, because I would really want to do offers more at least $20 an hour. Then if it's going to take longer than 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe, then I'd be looking at $25 possible minimum. So in that roundabout would definitely be like the floor. But the crazy thing about this is there's even offers that are $11.20. Even though it's quoted at 20 minutes, that's not much. That's not worth it like at all. Of course, you can think, well, you can just think of it as like maybe like a high paying offer, just something that you can just kind of get in and just knock out, especially if you're at your end of your 2 weeks. Because remember, you have to at least do 2 of these catering orders within a 2-week span. And if that's all you got left, you just might have to be scraping the bottom of the bucket. But they also show us some really good offers here where it shows like an easy cater. It says $52.70. Estimate time 8 minutes. So that must have been super close, but that is really awesome for $50. Then we see another one for $188. Now, I think the minimum offer I think I've ever taken, which I've done a ton of catering orders, just not like this in this fashion, but how they just normally just kind of pop up and come up to the app. I've done a ton of catering orders that I can't even count. I believe the lowest I think I've ever done was like maybe $17-ish. It was somewhere around there. But most of mine has been in the 20s, 30s, 40s. I've had some 50s. My highest one ever was 78. And I know a lot of you out there has even been a lot more than that, and even over $100, which is awesome. So kudos to you. And go ahead and put it down in the comment box. What's the largest catering order and the lowest catering order that you've ever maybe even seen or completed? So what are some pros and cons? Well, let's start with the pros first. And let me tell you, this kind of tells you a little bit about my why. Because in my area and in my market, it's crucial for me to receive a catering order to stay well above $20 an hour. Generally between $23, $27 an hour, depending on what are the size of this catering offer is. Or sometimes I might get multiple catering offers in a day. So that's what really jumpstarts my shift, because here I can't rely on peak pay. My peak pay here is just weak, or there's no peak pay at all. And if there is peak pay, it's just going to be late at night, around 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And even when restaurants close in my area, there's peak pay. I've wondered why in the world this is. Maybe because there's like so many Dashers in my area in the Dallas market. And maybe DoorDash says,
well, there's so many people there, we don't even have to give you peak pay.
Then that's a possibility. And maybe the places where there is a lot of peak pay, maybe there's not enough Dashers. And so they're trying to get people out. Is that the reason? I don't know, but I would love to know. Because honestly, I kind of feel ripped off where there's a ton of peak pay at. But that is just an honest opinion right there. But I really see this in-app catering offer as a great opportunity because it gives us the ability to actually schedule a catering order, and you can plan your day around this thing and just mold it and make it, and you can have a pretty good day. And just especially if you can get not just one but maybe two catering offers, and you can actually get up to 4. So how awesome is that? And I believe this does have to be spread out, at least in between, has to be enough room. It might be, I can't remember if it's 30 minutes or 60-minute intervals. So to kind of give you that enough time to make sure that catering order that you just had was completed. So that makes sense. Now let's look at a couple cons. My thing is, I just don't know if there's going to be enough of these catering offers to really go around, which it might be why it's going only to like select platinum Dashers. And with you having to actually do at least 2 within a 2-week span, then the thought is, well, how big are these offers going to be? Which there's no way to really actually know because these are actually people that are actually placing these orders. So it's not just DoorDash saying this is going to be X amount. I mean, the company or person actually has to put the tip in. Then you just got to be in a good enough market where there's plenty of offers. So it's just like, ooh, you just don't know. And if this is anything like I've like receiving like a flash offer, ever since this thing first rolled out, I still haven't received a flash offer yet. And it's been out for, I think I've had about 2-3 months ish. At least I had that availability. Then another example would be Dashlink, which is the package delivery. Even though I can get on there, but the waiting list is like so huge. I'm like number 200 or 300 or something, and there's only like a few offers out there, maybe 8, 9, 10. So that part kind of has me a little bit worried when it comes to this in-app catering offer, because it seems like DoorDash is going to be trying to push most of their catering offers into this part of the app. Now, I'm sure there's going to be somebody that will do like a same day catering. Then it'll just probably just pop up into the normal screen as we see it as a Platinum Dasher. So those are just some pros and cons. Another thought is you really want to put in not just your dollars to miles ratio, but remember, you got to do the dollars to time ratio as well. So if your goal is to make at least $25 an hour, you might want to really make sure that's at least $25, if not a little more, because whatever X amount of time that is, sometimes these offers can take us a little bit longer than expected. Even though it might say 30 minutes or 40 minutes, you might say this could take an extra 10 or 15 minutes. Then if the restaurant isn't ready, well, you can almost guarantee it's going to take a little bit longer. So make sure you choose those orders wisely. So here's my final thoughts. DoorDash is still innovating. They're still updating and trying brand new different things. Sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't. But when they don't, well, us Dashers are upset and we tell them about it. And when things work out good, we can actually cheer about it. But when we put all this stuff together, what do you think? Is this something that you even want? Will this make you even want to be platinum? Or are you just thinking about, it's just another thing, it doesn't matter? Because personally, I would love to try this thing out. And I really hope that it actually work in my favor. Because if not, it wouldn't feel like a true perk. But right now, it kind of stirs me up a little bit inside, and I actually really want to try this thing. And as soon as I get this offer, you're going to know about it. And I hope you receive value out of this video. So if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, which I don't know why you wouldn't have subscribed yet, but see me in the next video.